Traffic is the key. And you know, Russell Brunson wrote this amazing book. It is Thirsty Thursday. Welcome to today's 10-minute high-ticket tune-up with Sean. I am the CSO of the Sales Center. Excited to be here. If you're watching this as a replay, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you find any value today in what I'm about to share with you, because this one's a doozy, smash that love button. Share this to somebody who you think you can use this, because this one is going to be truly, truly great. Yesterday, we got an amazing question from a girl named Jody. I've known Jody for several years. Love this girl. She's amazing. And I just wanted to kind of walk through this question with you. So the question that Jody asked is this. She says, Sean, where do I find the right type of prospects for my offer? And what this does is it really gets into this whole concept of traffic, right? So if you talk about traffic, traffic is the key. And you know, Russell Brunson wrote this amazing book, which I'm going to read an excerpt from in just a second, because there's a point that I want to make that's really valuable for you that most people don't understand. Look, listen closely here. You guys cannot create traffic, right? A lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to go create this product and then it'll create this traffic thing for me. You can't create traffic. It doesn't exist. That whole idea of that is not the right thinking. The right thinking is to say, you know what? Like, I serve a certain type of person, and that certain type of person likes these kinds of things. And then now I start thinking through, like, where are those people really going to go hang out? When I first heard Russell Brunson describe the traffic thing, and I'm going to get into some answers. I'm also going to leave you some questions today that are going to be really valuable for you to keep to answer for yourself. So that'll be helpful to get through this, right? And maybe even a method on how to figure out where to find the right traffic as well today. So this is going to be a valuable one. So when I first heard Russell Brunson describe like traffic, he told me this story about when he was a wrestler. And he said that when he was a wrestler in high school or coming up into college or whenever, because he's like a really pro wrestler or something like that, really good. I would never get in a fight with him because he'd probably destroy me. But he said to me, he said that all of the people that he was hanging out with when he was in high school and college were in wrestlers. And when he was in class and all these people had these computers and these phones, he would look over and he would see, like, he's in the computer lab. Every single person that does wrestling with him was on this one particular website. I think it was called themat.com. And it wasn't even a website. It was literally like a chat program where you could go in and chat about, you know, the big next wrestling move. And all these people would get in and they would talk about different wrestlers and this, that, and the next thing. And so Russell realized at that point in his life, he's like, oh my God, like, this is where all these wrestling people hang out. And so he, fast forward into days of online, he remembers back to the story and thinks to himself, he's like, oh my God, like, if I wanted to sell wrestlers something, I can't create a product that wrestlers would just naturally be attracted to. I actually have to create something, an idea, maybe a product, and then go to where they are and hang out in their congregation. So if you think about churches, for example, and I don't mean to go religious at all on this, but it's a great example, is like, there's all these different religions. You know, you got the Jewish religion and you got the Buddhist religion and you've got the, you know, all of the Christianity and Catholicism and all these other ones. People congregate that are, you know, they accept that message as like, this is the truth for them, and that's great. And they'll go to a congregation of other people that have the same beliefs as them. So in your world, if you're looking about like, okay, so my product serves this market, it solves this problem. Who are the people that are going to have this problem? Where's my congregation and where do they hang out? And so then what happens is once you've understood or you're clearly defined the perfect vision for who you're trying to seek, and then you understand fully about where they hang out. And the only way to do this is literally to go and ask them what they do, where they hang out, and study and observe and watch. Because the more that you learn about your potential prospects, the better you can serve them, the better you can answer problems and questions for them. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you haven't heard that yet, it's very important for you to understand. So here's what Russell says. He says, waiting for people to come to you is not a strategy. But understanding exactly who your client or your customer is, discovering where they're congregating, and then he says throwing out hooks that will grab their attention to pull them into your world where you can tell them a story and then eventually get on the phone, make them an offer, do whatever, is the strategy, and that's the big secret. And so the two questions that Russell always says is this. He says, number one, who's your dream customer? Like, define them, talk about them, think about them. Most likely it's going to be you 5 years ago. So think about, like, if you're in the expert space, think about 5 years ago. Who were you? Where were you hanging out? What was the websites that you were checking out? What was the stuff that you were into? Like, Do a little brainstorm session, very valuable, right? Secondly, where are they congregating? So that's really what Russell says. Now I'm going to get into some stuff that I think would be more valuable. So how do you find the right type of prospects? Now we know that, hey, we got to find the dream customer. We got to identify them, figure out where they hang out. That's where we're going to go find them. What do? So first of all, create a filtering criteria. So we create this filtering criteria around who we're looking for. So like, for example, in my world, I'm looking for somebody who's got ambition, that wants to grow a business. They have to have that. That's like a characteristic trait that I look for every single time in every person I talk to. And it's literally my number one filtering criteria. So I can look at somebody's social properties and I can say, oh my God, like this person seems hungry. So that's the first part of my filtering criteria. Then I talk about they have to be in business for at least a year. The only way for me to figure that out is to start engaging and asking them questions unless I can see when their business was founded. And then also I know that they have to be a B2B, or they have to serve other business owners, and they have to be in a space in which I believe what we actually have to offer at this time is going to be a fit for them. And so that's the filtering criteria that we use. So the first thing that I would do is create a filtering criteria that you can kind of pre-sort through all the different people in the universe and figure out like, okay, this is that person. And then figure out where they hang out. So in my world, I'm going to look at people who have a proven product, proven path, proven offer that's actually made some cash. Like I'm looking for people that have built a business into the $500,000 to kind of $4 million range. Like, so all this criteria kind of floods into who I'm searching for. And it's going to be different for who you're searching for. And so once we identify and create this filtering criteria, then it becomes very easy either for us or our team when we're going out seeking these people, because you can't just sit back and wait for them to come to you. It never works that way. Literally, you have to take action and go out and find them, which is great. That's the funnest part. Like, it's draining as hell. Yes, it drains your energy. I will not lie about that. Like, prospecting is hard, but prospecting is good. Prospecting is needed. And if you're not doing prospecting in your business, you're not going to build the business that you really want to do, right? So, and prospecting can be several different things. It can be paid ads. It can be publishing. It can be joint ventures. It can be Dream 100s. It can be organic reach out strategies. There's so many different things that you get, software stacking. There's so many different ways to do prospecting, but at least if you don't have a system in your business that's consistently doing prospecting, either you're running the system or having someone else do it, your business is suffering. And that's the problem that most every single person runs into, because they all know, oh my God, like I have to have a system that does that. Maybe they can't afford paid ads. Maybe can't do this, whatever. The fact is prospecting is super key. And the secret is literally figuring out the congregation where your people hang out with. So I look for people, proven product, proven path. So then I'm going to start thinking through like, who are all the other coaches that teach something similar to what I teach, but not conflicting. So it's not a competition, but rather it's a complement to what they teach, where my systems may lay in there. So I'm going to look at people that are, possibly teaching paid advertising. And I can go and say, you know what, like I can talk with those people and I can help them in their personal world lower their return on investment, right? Because of the way that our systems are set up and stuff. That's a great conversation for me. Another one is going to be like, hey, somebody that has a proven product, proven path, maybe he has built a funnel, tried like a virtual summit or tried a challenge, and they just see these peaks and troughs in their business and the growth and everything else. If that's happening, that's another problem that I can really help solve, because the consistency in the game is the secret. Like, we've done summits, we've done challenges, we've done all of these things. And what we find is that the core or the foundation of the business needs to really be focused on like something that can be repetitive, and it takes little or no energy from the entrepreneur's part, right? So paid ads is that one, right? So if you have the money, you can buy your way in. If you don't, you have to work your way in. That means you're doing the work, or you're hiring a team to do the work with you and for you. That's kind of the secret. So where is your traffic congregating? Right. So once you figure that out, like I would go into, for example, certain particular, like there's 5 functions of a business, right? So you got lead gen, you got lead nurture, you got conversion into client, then you've got client delivery and fulfillment, client care, and then you've got retention and resell. So if those are the 5 functions of business, and you know that, and you're looking for people who might be a good fit for your business, like what is that function out of those 5 that you solve for them, right? If it's a business space question, Like, do you solve like systems in the delivery and fulfillment? Do you help put infrastructure in there? That's a great fit for me because I know this is the next step after they have lead gen, lead nurture, and conversion. This is the thing that's going to become important. So if I'm seeking people that are in this space that maybe serve this space, I can go to those people. Those are going to be a great congregation. Now, who follows those people? That's the next question that you have to answer for yourself. So you got to find coaches who maybe teach business structure, or in my world anyway. And then we would go and start having a conversation with that person. And maybe they even have an audience. And that's where joint ventures start to come in. And that gets really powerful, where you have this conversation and they say, well, yeah, I'm serving all these agency owners that absolutely knew what you do, and I don't do that. Okay, hey, let's put a deal together where we go do a webinar together and see what happens. Like, that's a joint venture. That's how that works. That is one of the fastest ways to grow a business very quickly. A lot of people live and die and swear by the JV model. I like it. I think it's a great one. But again, you have to have the confidence, and you have to have some chops, and you have to have some experience in making sales and making sure that you've gotten there, a little bit of street credit. So all those things are kind of prerequisites. Now, if you're not there yet, that's okay. We just have to choose another form of prospecting in finding the perfect traffic for, your offer and your audience. And so with that said, I think like that should give you kind of a little bit of an idea. So you create this filtering criteria, figure out where your traffic is congregating, and then you start showing up there. And literally, that is the secret. Start showing up there. And that's why they say, like all of these organic posting methodologies where, say, go into a group and see a post and then drop some value on the post. Like, that's how majority of all these companies teach this like organic outreach strategy. With love and respect, it works a little bit, but it doesn't work consistently and often enough. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the way that it goes, right? There's way better ways to do things than that are faster. So if you're looking for something that's faster and different, then hey, let's get on a connection call. Maybe we can have that conversation. I would love to add value into your world. If you haven't jumped on a connection call, you got to be into our inner circle first. And then on our actual welcome post, you should be able to click a button and schedule a call with us. We'd love to chat with you about that. But regardless, the question came from Jody is like, hey, where do I find the right type of prospects for my offer? Now, think about it, right? Like, what's your offer? Like, depending, if Jody was here, then maybe I would ask. Maybe she is. Hold on, let's see. Sahil says live. Oh, I love this topic. Neve says, I love this topic. Yeah, perfect. It's great to see you again. I love it. So I was hoping that Jody was going to be in there with some questions of what her offer was. But regardless of that, the secret is, where do you find the right type of prospects for your offer? Who's the right buyer? Does it design that buyer? Who's the person you really want to work with? Like, one of the biggest things that I found in my course of business online specifically was, if you start serving the wrong person, it creates this cataclysmic rift, right? And so when you go on the wrong side of the rift, and I've spoken with several people who have been there, where they're like, for example, when we built our software company, we were serving 9 to 5 business owners or 9 to 5 people in the corporate world that wanted to come online. That was the market. And we were kind of just a couple years past that phase. So we started teaching those people really hardcore. And what we realized after a period of time is like, oh my gosh, like, we're being held back by continuing to serve those people. And it took Russell Brunson saying to my face, like, hey, you don't like your client anymore. It's not a good fit for you. You need to make a change. And that's where this whole thing of kill your baby came from. And it led to selling a company and doing the other thing. But that realization of like, hey, I was serving the wrong person, put me in a wrong place. Like, just think about that. Like, if you continue going down that path and you continue serving the wrong person, it affects the lifestyle. And that's the big piece. So it's like, who is the person that you truly want to serve? What industry are they in? And who are the people you like to work with? Like, there's so many people on earth. A lot of people get stuck in this little niche of, oh, I'm in the online space. I'm in the ClickFunnels Rolodex. I'm in the world. I'm in the network. I'm in that community. And then you get so engulfed in that's where you think the whole world exists. And in fact, with respect to Russell Brunson, he's built something fantastic, and I bleed ClickFunnels colors. But in the bigger picture, like $100 million company, there are companies bigger than that. I think we can all agree on that. And so what does that mean? That means like Russell's ecosystem is massive. We all know that because we're probably a part of it. But there's these other businesses that have even bigger ecosystems. When you have that perspective, you're like, oh my God, I could sell to the ClickFunnels community. Maybe that's where you start, and maybe that's perfect for you. Okay, great. Go dissect, learn everything you can about that. Start showing up in those places, doing the posting, adding value, asking people if they're having the problems you solve. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. However, think about what are the other ecosystems outside of ClickFunnels that might be a fit for you if that's your target, because then you'll say, hey, oh my God, like this other ecosystem, for example, like what did Russell do? Russell looked and he said, where's the network that I need to go play in because I need to find a network for myself. He went to Salesforce.com with Mark Benioff, who's built a $10 billion company that has all these other businesses, right? It's a way bigger ecosystem than what Russell's built. And he started having conversations with Mark Benioff and having these conversations about Salesforce.com and all this other stuff, which is crazy because now they have this really good connection. And it's cool to watch how Russell is modeling a lot of the stuff that he does software as a service, because Salesforce was like the first big one that ever came out as a software as a service, revolutionized the industry. Russell's looking at the giant and saying, oh, could I model some of my stuff after? Oh, cool. Oh, and there's all these people inside of there that would be my perfect client. Put your head there, right? So like just step out for a second and think about like, if you're in an ecosystem and you're learning something there, great, do it. That's fine. But when you get to a place where you realize that maybe that ecosystem doesn't have your best customers, it's okay. Don't freak out. Just pull yourself out of the equation just for a second and say, oh, like here's another ecosystem that might fit for me. Here's another ecosystem that might fit for me. And then go explore it and see how it works. Test small, scale fast. Test small, scale fast. So you could get into another ecosystem and you could say, here's 100 personal messages that I've sent to people, right? Over a course of like 2 weeks or something. And then you could see the results that come back from that. And then you go and you play in another ecosystem over here and he's like another 100 messages over here. What are the results? Are they going to the next step, right? Because really in sales, it comes down to response, right? So the only thing you can control in sales, right? We call it really like the triple threat, the triple A is attitude and activity are the two main ones, right? And so if we're focused on having the right attitude, understanding, we can go into different ecosystems and we can do activity to test ecosystems. So what happens is you get really tight on who the person is that you can serve and you figure out like, oh, this ecosystem is just on fire for me right now. I'm going to play there for a while and see what can come out of it. And then now you have a place where you can really like dive in and focus on, because there's a big group of people that you know you can impact at just one or two calls and get them into a program that you serve them with. And next thing you know, you're going to win the game. So that's what I would say, Jody, if that answers your question. Where do you find the right type of prospects for your offer? Just first of all, do a speed check. Like, are you in the ecosystem where you're learning a bunch of stuff and you like feel like that's the only world that you live in? If that's where you're at, just be aware of this, pull yourself out of it, and then say, oh my God, this other ecosystem might be a good thing. And then go test it. Test, right? And it all starts with, like I said, create this filtering criteria, then figure out where the traffic is congregating, and then just start showing up there, having conversations, leaving posts, reaching out to people directly. But again, prospecting system, think about that too. So with that said, I love you. I hope this one was helpful. If this was valuable, again, smash that love button. I would love to see the comments and posts. And I think I have a few more coming up. My offer is struggling coaches who are scared and want to break through and happy to volunteer in place of Jody. Neve, love this one. So there it is, right? So, okay. So if you're struggling coaches who are scared and want to break through, I would assume this is probably a mindset offer. Quite 100% sure on that one. Neve, that's what you mean. Please post in there. But if you are looking for people who need a mindset adjustment, who are those people? Who are the congregation that you're looking for? Well, in the spectrum of business, if you're looking for coaches that need a little bit of a mindset adjustment, they're probably not going to be a coach that's been coaching for 20 years. But they are going to be a coach that's maybe trying to build a coaching business. Maybe they built the first one. Maybe they're just getting started in a coaching business. Maybe they were like an expert at something and then they kind of moved in that direction. And she says, yes, a mindset offer, which is right. And confidence. So yeah, so if you're looking to deliver mindset and confidence to a coach, Neve, then what I would do is I would start looking at who are the people, like motivational videos. Who are the biggest motivators, motivational speakers that you could think about? Because those people preach mindset and confidence. And then what I would do is I would go find some of these big people, influencers that literally will do that exact thing, is they do motivational speaking. That might be a really great fit for you to connect with them and say, hey, listen, like you're doing this motivational speaking. Not sure if you're selling a product or program behind it. I have one that would actually like dovetail perfectly in with your public speaking. Can we build a joint venture offer together? That's one approach. The other approach would be like just going into the congregation and of course doing a few direct reach outs. As long as it's not a competing offer with what you do, that is okay. And I think that would be something that is important to know. So that's how I would start there. Neve, that might help you at least start with the motivational speakers. I would go with any introductory business building courses. And if you're doing mindset, remember that there's mind work, skill work, and network, and then the 5 functions, right? So if you're doing lead, mindset kind of covers all of these functions of business, but there might be a potential block in one of these 5 functions. So for example, if it's, let's say like blockage on conversion, if there's a blockage on conversion, you might go into other places. For example, if there's a coach that's coaching, let's call it, man, I'm having trouble coming up with ideas today. Tennis. Let's say somebody's playing tennis and they want to get over the threshold of like, they want to coach other people in tennis online. That's what they were doing, for example. And they were struggling with their mindset of how to make the bridge between moving from this place to that place. Well, where do those people hang out? Like they're probably going to be going to lectures and they're going to be going to seminars. Who are the people putting those seminars on? Who are those people? That's the congregation where you want to go find, because literally they're trying to learn a skill set about tennis, but you're coming at them saying, well, it might not be the skill set around tennis that's your problem. It's a head problem, which I can fix. And then now you have a complimentary hangout where you can go to those people and say, like, I can really actually help you there. And that would be impactful. So Neve, that would be one, without giving too much more thought into it, where you could probably start. And that's what I would love to say. So with that said, guys, thank you so much. Neve says, thank you so much. Of course, it's my pleasure. And a little shout out to Nikos, my boy Nikos. What's up, Nikos? Hope you're doing good today. Happy Thursday, guys. It's 9 o'clock. I got to run. I got another meeting, but I love you. It's Thursday, and I will see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.